Good evening, everybody. I figured I'd start things off with a bang with some Slaughter Lord there. That's the most recent addition to my collection. I just I just got this banger from Hills Headbangers Records, and that was just a short sample of what's on this. This band, Slaughter Lord, comes from Australia. Now, they might not sound that unique to you, but what you have to realize about that is from 1986 and 1987. And so at that time, very few bands were sounding like that. These guys were cutting edge. They were one of the founders of the extreme metal genre. And so I can definitely appreciate that work. So that's a good sample of it. So let's see. I'm just going to play another track off of it until some people filter in, and then if we get some more viewers going on here, we'll get this party started. And good evening. I'm just showcasing the newest addition to my record collection, which would be the Slaughterlord demos. Now, this is a bootleg because you just cannot find, you can't find this stuff any other way, and so you have to get the bootleg or listen to it on YouTube. But I want to own a physical copy of this because I am a fan. This stuff is great. This comes from Australia. The drummer of this band, I don't remember his name, but he ended up becoming a famous comedian. See, let me pull this out. I think it might have his name listed here. And I will tell you. I mean, this is, some of the first death metal. Of course, around this time, Possessed Seven Churches would probably be the first actual death metal record. Then you had the band Death, Scream Bloody Gore with Chuck Schuldiner. Then, let's see, Obituary's first actual studio record was 1989. But, they were jamming out before they actually went into the studio with a record deal. So, these are the first waivers of extreme metal. Let me see if I can find that the name of the drummer here. I'm not much into mainstream comedians, so the name wouldn't really mean anything to me. So the drummer is Steve Hughes. So I think he's mainly famous in Britain, British comedy, whatever. I'm sure he's a great comedian, but I personally like his drumming better. Unfortunately, with this particular demo, the recording of it does not, you can't really hear the bass drums very well. It's very raw. Some people prefer the raw sound, but for me, I like a more refined studio sound. And I mean, the composition, the way the songs are written, they're fantastic compositions. They just didn't have the means to get a good, expensive recording done. And so as a result, this is all we're left with. But it's still a fantastic documentation of what was going on at the time. And so that's what it is. Just going to play a couple of riffs here just so you can hear what I'm talking about with the sound quality. I mean, the performance is superb. Well performed, well written. Okay, I'm going to play for you now a little bit of Steve Hughes comedy. So just be patient with me a moment here while I cue it up. I've got it all set up. I'm still learning the ropes on StreamYards. I'm not a StreamYards expert, but it is the best streaming option so far as I know to date. I'm glad it's here. There we go. And of course, they're going to come in with ads.
The wonderful talents of Mr. Steve Hughes! Thank you.
Now, the intro for Mr. Steve Hughes was they were playing what, Rain and Blood from Slayer. Then I guess they didn't have the cojones to play the actual Slaughter Lord that he actually played, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Mainstream, bunch of dumb dodos.
Yeah. The rest of you relax. I'm thinking the same thing looking at you people. So. Dear freaks. No worry, there's no need to buy a big issue off me. So, which, by the way, I hope you're decent enough people to do buy the big issue, at least, give some money to homeless people. I hope you're not those people that go, no, I only give my money to registered charities. That way, I know where my money's going. No, you don't. You're not morally superior. You're just gullible and conformist. I know exactly where my money's going, to this bloke with 3 socks and no shoes. And now it's going to the off-license. Well, it's perfectly acceptable as far as I'm concerned. Well, that's their big moral high ground a lot of the time, You don't give these people money. No. They'll just spend it on drink and drugs. Well, what do you think I was going to spend it
on? Yeah, this guy's good. I like him, but I would certainly believe that he would be doing a better service to the world if he was still playing drums in extreme metal bands like Slaughter Lord. I would like to see him, rekindle things with his old bandmates and do a better recording. I know that's a big taboo thing. Oh no, the record that you can barely hear anything on, it's perfect. Don't re-record that. Well, I think the Slaughter Lord demos is a case where it would do better if it was re-recorded with better equipment and just given a better treatment. But there are cases like Iced Earth, Night of the Storm Rider. They went and re-recorded that. I didn't really care for the redo on that. Obituary went back and re-recorded some. What was it? Not Slowly to Rot. After that, it was. Anyway, they re-recorded some of those songs, and I didn't really care for the newer versions. I did like the older versions, but the versions that they replaced were the originals were done in the studio, so you could hear all the drums, you could hear the bass guitar, you could hear the guitars, you could hear the vocals. Good sound separation. It was a professional production. So going back and redoing that has me kind of scratching my head, But when it's a bunch of static and you can, it sounds like it was recorded in a garage with a tape deck, that's when I would say, yeah, go back and fix that. Get a better recording going on to where we can actually hear what's going on, and all of that. So, well, let's check out some more of this.
Hypocrites. What kind of weird world do we live in where they go, don't associate with people less fortunate than yourself who have to live in the street or have no money? Don't help them out by having a conversation or giving them a few coins. Don't do that. Why don't you just send the money to us and we'll make sure they get it. Anyway, it's wonderful to be. I'm from Australia, actually, although I have an English father, Australian mother. Some Scottish bloke said that makes me Welsh. So. Being in England for many years now, I understand, all of you, and myself included, we all have to live under the weird and oppressive regime of health and safety regulations. Which is very strange, isn't it? Because, remember in the old days before health and safety? Remember when it was called common sense? Remember those days? Remember many years ago when you used to go, look, there's a great big deep hole. Will I step in it? No, I'll just walk around it like that.
Imagine that.
Well, how'd you manage to learn to do that? Well, my parents taught me not to be a moron. And I just kind of carried it on from there. See, the Dutch, they'll treat you like an adult. You're in Amsterdam. You're in a city. They sell pot. They sell mushrooms. There's
Hey, I just want to remind you, as you're popping in, if you want to say something, go ahead and say it in the chat. If you have some questions, if you want to see something else, if you want to talk about something else, let me know. And I can most likely oblige you. But right now we're looking at Steve Hughes here. He is the drummer of the band Slaughterlord, which is the most recent addition to my collection. And, the stuff that I've got was recorded in 1986, 1987. Same year you had Metallica's Master of Puppets. Was it Overkill? I think their first record, they're probably on their second record taking over by then. Give you an idea of what's going on. Slayer's coming out with Rain and Blood was their album. And so Slaughterlord was definitely on par with those bands, but they didn't find any success in the mainstream. Only the most underground people are aware of them. And so career-wise, their drummer, Steve Hughes here, moved on to become a comedian. I think he's quite good, but I am a little chagrined because I wish he would have continued in music because he was a very talented drummer. Well, let's continue on this comedy bit for a little while.
Trams, there's buses, there's cabs, there's push bikes with women, with kids strapped to the front of them. There's a road next to a canal. Is there a fence? No. No fence. England, there'd be a big sign, big fence. Don't go in the water. Don't all fall in the water and drown. Don't go in. Amsterdam, is your bike wet? Yeah. Well, you're on the wrong bit, mate. So... And then we have political correctness, which is the joy that is the other side of health and safety, which is a small oppression of our physical movement, so we can't do anything without permission from the state. And political correctness is the oppression of our intellectual movement, so no one says anything anymore in case somebody else gets offended. What happens if you say that and someone gets offended? Well, they can be offended. What's wrong with being offended? When did sticks and stones may break my bones stop being relevant? Isn't that what you teach children, for God's sake? That's what you teach toddlers. He called me an idiot. Don't worry about him. He's a dick. Now you have adults going, I was offended, and I have rights. Well, so what? Be offended. Nothing happens. You're an adult. Grow up. Deal with it. I was offended. I don't care. Nothing happens when you're offended. There's nothing. I went to the comedy show, and the comedian said something about the Lord, and I was offended. And when I woke up in the morning...
It's like Justin Horball from Hell's Headbanger says, make metal offensive again. This political correctness is an absolute disease. It's a cancer. It's infected every aspect of our lives. It is something straight out of 1984, the whole controlling of speech. Because if you can control speech, you can control ideas. And so political correctness it's a social engineering mechanism designed to control what you can think and what you can say and what you can influence other people to say. And so, Mr. Steve Hughes is making light of it right now, which, it's a good way of getting the point across. But at the same time, political correctness is a real problem. And it's not meant to benefit society. It's meant to benefit the social engineers themselves. And so it's not meant for your benefit. I can guarantee you that.
Morning, I had leprosy. Nothing happens. I want to live in democracy, but I never want to be offended again. Well, you're an idiot.
Let me stop it right there. Okay, democracy, that's another buzzword that they like to hit you with. because they have conflated the term democracy with personal freedom and liberty, and that is not the case. Democracy in its purest form is two wolves and one sheep voting on what's for dinner. What do you think they're going to have? What do you think? Do you think there's a lot of personal liberty happening for the sheep? I don't think so. And so that's why when the United States of America was founded, it was not a pure democracy. It was a constitutional republic with democratic elements, because a pure democracy is hell on earth, because the masses are easy to manipulate, as evidenced by the propaganda machine. I'm sure many people out there know what I'm talking about. You can see evidence of it. And so as a result, a pure democracy, the people are manipulated, and eventually it doesn't take very long for some evil genius tyrant to take over and turn it into a hellish police state like North Korea. Or, take your pick, Napoleon Bonaparte's France, all of those things. Even Rome, Rome started off as a democratic republic type of thing. And then Caesar eventually took power. And so democracy is not all it's cracked up to be. Don't be deceived by that. Don't think, oh, democracy, good. No, not necessarily. Constitutional republic, good. Democracy, bad. In fact, in reality. And so let's continue on.
How do you make a law about offending people? How do you make it an offense to offend people? Being offended is subjective. It has everything to do with you as an individual or a collective or a group or a society or a community, your moral conditioning, your religious beliefs. What offends me may not offend you. And you want to make laws about this? I'm offended when I see boy bands, for God's sake. It's a valid offense. I'm offended. They're corporate shills posing as musicians to further a modeling career.
I'm offended every time I hear rap. I hate it. I'm so sick of it. The only exception would be Flint Flossie. But the thing about Flint Flossie is it's not just about the rap. It's got a comedic element to it. And so it's a multi-layered form of entertainment. But most rap out there is just, I find, detestable, especially when they try to mix that trash into heavy metal music. Once you mix once you mix rap into metal, it's like adding leaven to flour. It leavens the whole thing. It's ruined. It's no longer consumable. So I'm sick of having rap forced down my throat.
Career, and frankly, I'm disgusted. But what am I going to do? Call the cops? Hello, it's me again. They're on the telly this time. 5 of them, that's it. Yeah, white suits dancing like girls, that's them. 5 minutes, I'll be out the front traumatized. Bye. And now we can't smoke anywhere either. No smoking. No. For our health. No, it's not. It's for control.
Yeah, the tobacco Gestapo, full swing. They took over with a vengeance. I'm a little confused by that, because the social engineers generally want to reduce population. And so if smoking is so toxic and bad for you, then shouldn't they want more people smoking? So I'm a little baffled by their angle there. Maybe they don't like smelling cigarette smoke when they go to public places or whatever. I mean, people, smoking's not banned. It practically is. Because, if you buy a pack of cigarettes, where in the world can you smoke them? You can't smoke them in restaurants anymore. They used to at least have smoking sections. Now you have to go out into the freezing cold or the blazing heat or God knows where. And it's just impossible. So it's just, I'm upset by the lack of liberty there. I think people should have more liberty to enjoy tobacco products if they choose to do that. It's not, if somebody smokes a pack of cigarettes, it's not the end of the world. One thing I've experienced personally, I have an aunt that was in the medical industry, and I actually did quit smoking several years ago. And you're supposed to say a certain script when you quit smoking. So she comes up, she says, "Oh, you quit smoking. Can you breathe better?" I said, "No." you feel better? No, I don't feel any difference. I told the truth because the fact is I did quit smoking, but I don't notice any difference in my breathing. I don't notice any difference in the way I feel. I just don't use cigarettes anymore. That's all. That's the only difference. So, you know, you're supposed to say, "Oh yeah, I breathe a lot clearer now." I don't. My breathing hasn't changed. So, just being real with you. But let me continue on with this.
No smoking. Can we still buy cigarettes? Of course. Where can we smoke them? Nowhere.
Right.
You can smoke them in the woods under a blanket with a torch. Unless it's raining, then health and safety regulations do stipulate that. You think it's about health. It's not. It's about control. There's an easy way to understand this because the Irish were the first to stop smoking in pubs. Now, who saw that coming? Not the Irish. I'd love to have been there the day they told them. What? It's us. We're first. Come on. No. In pubs. But we live in pubs.
Interesting thing is, you know, because I know this because it's tied to my own family tree. A lot of Irish fled Ireland because of the very oppression that he's referring to here. You know, a lot of Irish fled during the 19th century, including some of my very ancestors. They got the heck out of there. But it's getting to the point now where you know, back then you could go to the United States of America. Where do you go now? I'd like to know because maybe I'd want to go there. But the freest place I found so far is Texas in the United States of America. So here I am.
I tried to give them up. I tried to give up cigarettes. I bought a book on addiction. It said apparently in this book, if you're addicted to something, when you give it up, you replace it with something else, like a hobby. So I did a pottery course. Yeah, first day, everyone made ashtrays. It's a crap plan, you know, and very embarrassing after sex as well. You were great, baby. Yeah, I've made you a pot. Thank you very much. Have a brilliant night. Hope you enjoy yourself.
All right. So let me play some more of the Slaughter Lord music. This guy's the drummer for the band Slaughter Lord. So that's what the significance here is. That's good stuff. Good, solid compositions. All right, so let's delve into the world of Twitter and see what's going on there. I know a lot of things have been happening Comicsgate wise, so let's take a look into that. Okay, so we've got Matt Barr here. He says, I believe in what Comicsgate stands for and where it came from. Comicsgate for me, aka CG, I saw the comics I grew up on being destroyed with shitty politics. Then I realized I was paying for a $5 comic that I could have drawn better. I decided to start reaching out. Even within Emmy nominations, 20 years as an illustrator designer, going to SVA and having teachers like Klaus Johnson, Jane Colan, and Joe Orlando, and Eagle Scout. I was what the big two wanted. I'm a straight white male with conservative beliefs. I have no place in lamestream current comics. Then I found Zach, Ethan, and the rest of CG. I felt re energized and started paying my dues. I'm here to be a part of it and promote it, not use it until I move up. And well, that's a statement from Matt Barr, and he's a pretty stand-up guy. I've seen him on YouTube a few times. I'm not sure if I own any art that he's done. I'd have to go through my collection, but all around, I think he's a very impressive fellow, dependable, consistent. So let's go back to the old Twitter feed and see what's going on here. Yeah. Let's see. He says, jar of peanut butter jelly isn't available. It goes best with this. I would say honey. There's Rob Hunter. Rob Hunter is another professional comic book artist. He says, first image of Hercules as he'll first appear in Death Raider. And Death Raider is a brand new comic book that Rob Hunter is working on. And I've actually backed that. I think it's going to be a good book. Interesting story, science fiction, military style. There's an excerpt of some of the art that Rob Hunter has done, and definitely looks impressive. That is fantastic. That's professional grade stuff right there. So I'm really looking forward to getting a copy of that. Ethan Van Sciver. All right, so let's see what Ethan Van Sciver is talking about now. He says, War Campaign has tried to locally trademark Comicsgate in Canada. Fellas, I own the mark in the USA, and you're welcome to put it on your comics, just like I let you do it with Vestige. Good luck. And then Yellow Flash responds. He says, they're like General Awards of Comicsgate. They just won't go away. Right? And this is Cecil says, General Warts are far more likable. And so it is. Yeah, I'll go back and the first warning sign I had with Woz Campaign was when they started attacking sketch therapy for no reason, unjustifiably, unfair, and I knew something was bad wrong with that group, that whole bunch. So I got the F out of it and haven't looked back since. And everything's better without those clowns. So be that as it may. They can be good for entertainment purposes every once in a while, but only in small doses. It was like what Cecil was saying tonight is you can waste a lot of time with those clowns, but again, think about yourself out of body for an hour watching yourself and dealing with those clowns. It's a complete time sink and completely unproductive and worthless. So it's best just not to waste too much brain cells on them. Okay, Graham Nolan, you did it. Next stop, 168K, the Ghosts of Matacombe Key. That's another comic book to keep your eye on and back if you can. Ghost of Matacombe Key is it ties the whole Graham Nolan universe together. He's had a few books out. Let's see, the Chenu, Two Fisted Manly Tales, and I know there's another one. I just can't remember it off of the top of my head. But the importance of, who is Graham Nolan? Graham Nolan is one of the co-creators of Bane in the Batman universe. So if you like that style of comics, you do yourself a good service to check out Graham Nolan and uh, get in on some of the books that he's producing because they are very high quality, very professional. He's doing what Marvel and DC are not doing now, which is produce good quality comics with entertainment value. And so I personally have back Ghost of Matacombe Key, and I ordered a copy of the Chenu and a few others with that. So really looking forward to getting into that. Also, Joe Frankenstein is another work that Graham Nolan is doing. I think it's on Joe Frankenstein Part 2 now. I have the first one, Joe Frankenstein Part 1, and it's just absolutely excellent. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay, let's see. Oh, look, okay, so Smiller. This should be interesting. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, no. What is even happening? Trending Smiller. Okay, that was a bunch of nothing. Another waste of time. All right, Eric Weathers. He's retweeting or he's replying to Ripaverse Comics, which is Eric July, talking about the ISOM 2 campaign. I have the first ISOM book, and we're supposed to have not read it. I've read it, and I thought it was an interesting story. It doesn't follow the prescribed formula for a comic book, so it's bad for that reason. I don't agree. It's different. It doesn't hand you everything on a silver platter. You have to imagine. You have to think about certain elements of the story, and I like that. I like the mystery element of what's what. And you have the impression that it's going to be revealed later on. And so I have the first ISOM. I've ordered the second one, and I look forward to reading that to get greater details. Plus, Eric July has employed Chuck Dixon. He was another professional writer from the mainstream comic book industry, and so I'm expecting good results from that as well. So I think that if you miss out on these, you'll regret it. So I would also recommend checking out Eric July stuff, the Ripaverse comics. Oh boy, Edwin Boyette. All right, what's going on here? Let's see. I'm waiting for Smiller to respond with an insulin bottle or a flight of stairs. Dark Smiller has potential. Okay. I some inside joke with those guys. I don't get it. Smiller versus Malin is fun. Okay. Okay. Ethan Van Sciver, 4 hours ago. From now until July 17th, you can add on the Rockafort or Kelsey Shannon Glow in the Dark Salamandroid Death Stings books to your order at checkout. He has 100 copies of each to offer. Those are definite collector's items. And there is definitely resale value in Ethan Van Sciver's work, so I wouldn't ignore that. Donald DeLay with an incredible panel. Okay, so Cecil says our military is now gayer than George Takei's swimming pool filled with Bud Light. New U.S. military unit monitors social media for mean posts about current and former high-ranking officers. Uh, All right, Dr. Mask Retro Elixir. Garage sale finds last week in $1 each, including 6 from Trouble. Wow. Okay, he's got some good selections in there. Got some Testament, some Venom, Metal Church. Let me blow that up a little. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Trouble. But that I have that Metal Church record, Blessing in Disguise. That one's good. Testament. That's a live album. I do have a copy of that. It's decent. I'm not a big fan of live albums. I like studio work. Not to say that the live album's bad for a live album. It's just live albums are not my thing. All right. Well, I think I'm about ready to wrap up this stream. I'll play a little bit more from the Slaughter Lord demo. Thank you for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe, and have a great night.